Over the past year, Russia's state-controlled media has played a key role in fostering anti-Ukrainian sentiment among the Russian general public and generating support for the conflict in East Ukraine. For many Ukrainians, this has placed huge strain on personal relations with their friends and relatives in Russia. We asked Kiev residents whether they'd been able to offer their Russian acquaintances an alternative point of view.
I'm very lucky to have a couple of friends in Russia who are, we call them adequate. They are not pro-Putinist, and they understand the situation, they follow the news, they know that there is Russian propaganda and some Ukrainian news which really show the real situation here. So I don't even need to convince them. But I once met one guy in Moscow who is Единая Россия party member, and he is really pro-Putin, pro-Kremlin. So I tried to convince him that starting from Crimea, the majority of people in Crimea, for example, they do not want to go to Russia. They are pro-Ukrainian. I tried to convince him that in Donetsk, some people, yes, they really want to Russia, but it's not the whole region which wants to break away from Kiev. But he's completely, he's 21 and he's completely under Russian propaganda. He's under rule of his party, and he's completely close to any kind of information which differs from the party line. So I think it's completely impossible as for such people like him.
It was difficult. I have a family in Russia. I have my uncle lives in Russia, in Moscow, and at first it was very difficult. But now I hope that he understands about everything about situation in Ukraine. And I know many people who have conflicts because of the situation inside the family. So I hope that he understands the situation in Ukraine now.
Actually I have even a family. I have an uncle. He lives in Moscow, Russia. So we have a few dialogues, even disputes about our political situation now. So it was quite challengeful because we're trying to say the truth, but Russian propaganda is too strong, So that's why when you're trying to show them the real facts about the Maidan, about our political situation, about the war, that there is real war in Ukraine, they was just like, I can believe you because on my TV there is enough different information about this.
So I made lots of attempts just to say something. Because I used to live in Russia, in Khabarovsk region. So I went to school, and I have right now many friends and Russians in Russia. But unfortunately, it's not possible. I think it's because of mentality, because of different psychology that we have right now. It's because of propaganda. Right now, I don't know why, but we're not friends, and because of this situation, I want to cry, and I have no idea what to do with that. How to just to talk. I'm not going to convince them, but I just want just to talk. But it's impossible.
Absolutely, yes. We have got our friends who live in Moscow, and on a regular basis they are calling us and asking what is actually happening, because they cannot get truthful information from the TV sets, from the TV channels, from the newspapers. That's why we have to explain them all the time that that the situation is more or less under control, and we tell them not to forget that we actually get our information from the same TV channels and from the same newspapers as well. So we have to think what kind of information we get, and we have to analyze it all the time. Plus, we have got our relatives who live in Siberia, and my cousin, she was asking me, are you far away, for example, from the Donbas area where the conflict is taking place? I said, you know what, it's kind of 700 kilometers from that place. Okay, but is it far away? Are you in danger, etc., etc.? So we have to tell them all the time.